Coach, your thoughts on today's result?
Well, I think from the very outset, we knew and expected that a confident and talented Montreal team would come here and could control large portions of the game with the way that they play, have multiple different areas of threat, and thus it was going to be a really tough encounter against a side that have performed very, very well and are now top of the East. The guys turned the page on the weekend. They were able to, put a very positive and upbeat performance together for a good part of that game. Some management to be had in the latter stages, but all in all, a very, very important victory. Of course, they're all important, but after defeat at the weekend, it felt like this game was far more important than most that we played to try and get back on track. And of course, I'm delighted that we've been able to.
Tim, go ahead.
Hey, Gary, you mentioned that they were top of the East coming into this game, and I think Philly might have been right there too. What does it say about your team that not only are you still undefeated at home, but it's been against some pretty tough competition?
Yeah, look, we've seen in the past that our home form has been very, very decent. I think I've said on numerous occasions the combination of very good support. Certainly here it's more raucous than we've probably felt before, just purely because of the dynamics of the stadium. We managed to find a very good rhythm at Titan Stadium, and it concerned me when we came in, not because it isn't a quality stadium, but were we going to be able to find that groove and gather that confidence that we had over the course of 2 years previously? And the guys have done a great job. There's still work to be done. I think they are finding game on game that there's experiences that they're taking out of the field, out of the stadium. They're in the end going to be the ones that work the very most and squeeze the most out of this environment. If they can get on top and they start to feel that synergy with the crowd again, which they've already started to, each crowd and group have a very different connection, and I think the fans here have got not just a good relationship with the players, but they understand some of the dynamics of the group, the team, and certainly the individuals.
Right.
Yeah, Gary, including Joe in goal, who obviously has been playing. I believe that was 7 players from that Houston game that was included in this group, including Luke and Alex, obviously, who started them as well. I mean, how does that seem reinvigorating or emboldening, given what you all went through at Houston?
Yeah, it was an abnormal display from the group, and we were all in this together. I made the choices. There were reasons for it. We don't need to go into that again. But what is important, whoever had gone out on the field tonight, that they were able to, in the most positive fashion, put that out of their mind. And it's not easy. When you don't play well, when you get beat, somewhere in the back of your mind, there's that memory. And against a good team, there was the risk and the fear that they might be able to get on top and circumstances could contrive against us. But I thought the guys were very professional. They attacked the game very well. They worked with a controlled aggression and energy, which is very, very important against good teams.
Yeah, Gary, after the Houston game, you said you hadn't seen many performances like that, and you hope you didn't see one again.
Yep.
How important was it to just kind of put that in the rearview mirror quickly and bounce back?
Massive. Yeah, absolutely massive. I can't reinforce that enough. Especially as we've spent a long time on the road. I think, what was it, 9-2 up until tonight. Now 9-3. So there's been a lot of time away from the comforts and the confines of our own turf. And I do think personally, and I'm sure outside of the locker room, a lot of people forget the challenges that those players are under. What we know is that we have had some good performances here already, and we were going to need a certain type of mentality, A, to get through some of the difficulties from the weekend, and B, of course, to galvanise the crowd again. It looked to me from the touchline, even with the emotion of the game, that there were some very good passages of play. Both teams maintained the ball well for a good hour or more of the game. Our moments were few, likewise theirs. In fact, the goal was an uncharacteristic error. My hope was that at that point we didn't look like, there was a way they were going to break us down. And all of a sudden, there's a bit more anxiety about the remainder of the game. So very, very pleased, and we can hopefully forget all about the difficulties at the weekend.
Claudio.
Gary, you've been through many different scenarios through your career, but I'm curious about how big it was for you, the roller coaster of the emotional charge game against Atlanta, the team going down the way they did in Houston, and now coming back to a more, I would call it a level that we're used to see the team perhaps. How that been on you personally? How's that been those especially those last 3 games?
Well, I honestly think it's a really good question because, there are a lot of things that have to be evaluated post-game, whether it's an Atlanta victory in a cup game, whether it's a Houston defeat in a league game away from home. There are lots and lots of things that the coaching staff and the support staff want to talk through and make, just mentally be able to, concisely break down and try and work out what some of the problems were. To your point, one of the discussion points was the emotion of Wednesday, the manner of the comeback, the relationship or the rivalry we have with Atlanta, and of course a victory against a very, very good team again and coming from behind. And I think I personally didn't give the guys enough credit for how that went down and what it might have meant beyond that, going away from home, the travel again, different environment. And I think we saw at the weekend that there were some very different displays. So it's a lesson for us all, there's no doubt about that. Again, we all forget that we are in the very early stages of developing as a team and as a soccer club in general. There have been so many changes. The stadium, of course, being the biggest one that we've had to try and overcome. And I think because things have gone very decently for us, it's easy to for me personally, to look at each and every game and be, maybe a little bit too critical. When if you look at a broader picture of what we've been able to produce, what the guys have been able to overcome, they've been terrific, and tonight is one of those nights again where they've shown their true colours.
Yeah, two-parter for me, Gary. The first is Alex. It seemed like the goal was straight out of a training session with Guppy, right? I mean, but we've also seen a lot of the defensive work that he's been putting in the offensive work this season. Do you see his role, maybe his impact on the team perhaps evolving a little bit? And then second part is the goals that were scored tonight for you guys. It was very swift and really the long ball and the run of play as opposed to set pieces and obviously swift counterattacks as well. How do you feel about it?
Well, firstly with Alex, he is a big piece. His role within the group has always been a very sound and strong one. I think the difference is with Alex, he's so versatile that, you know, we forget just where he's at his best because he fills so many roles. I think he's taken on board an awful lot of information. He's still growing in that wing-back role. There is no doubt that his instincts as a midfield player and an individual that we've seen in the opponent's half of the field are coming good for us every so often. And tonight's goal was a cracker. It really was, and an important one. You know, to break the deadlock, to get us in front. Somehow, somebody had to come up with something different because both teams look very, very sound defensively. It was going to take an individual effort, something of brilliance to to break the deadlock. So that side of things, I'm delighted with him, and as I've said, he continues to grow. With regards to the goals, you know, each game presents a different challenge, and tonight it was never going to be easy playing against a team that were like for like. You know, lots of battles throughout the field match up so well. You know, the easy ones are the wing backs. Alistair's constantly breathing down Daniel's neck. Daniel's constantly breathing down Alistair's neck. It's not easy to find space and make a difference. So I thought the best moments were going to happen maybe in transition, regains, repressing, a mistake. Their goal, in all fairness, was a mistake. They put it in a good area and in the end make the most of it. But you know, in all fairness, Joe's been absolutely magnificent for us in the time that he's been here, and it's one of few moments that, you know, we can honestly say he should be doing better than that, and he's aware of that too. But he has been brilliant and a stalwart for us. So I'm certainly not going to be too critical of him on that one. The goals, the second one especially, was out of the sort of connection and the understanding that we've seen so much in the past between Hanny and CJ. Of course, really pleased to see Hanny get on the score sheet again, and his assist come from his partner in crime up front. You know, it's great to see that. In all honesty, we haven't seen enough of it, and that may well be because, you know, teams that we're playing against are pretty appreciative and understanding of what they're capable of. So it becomes more and more difficult for those guys to find space and to make a difference.
Team and then we'll conclude that today's the availability with coach.
You mentioned Alistair battling with Dan, but did you get a chance to chat with Alistair and catch up with him either before or after the game and kind of reconnect with one of your players who was very important the last couple of years?
I saw him just briefly before the game. He came running out for the warm-up, and we just shook hands, as did the other coaches. Left on really good terms, and he's obviously doing a great job for them. Delighted for him, you know, with the World Cup qualification. But I've got to be honest, you know, my main focus was congratulating our guys. If I see people in my eye line, of course I would have done, but you know, it's pretty tough when people have lost. There's I think a tremendous amount of respect from us to them, and I do think some of their guys have done a wonderful job for him, and Wilfred has done a terrific job for the team. But I didn't see an awful lot of Alistair.
Yeah, Gary, you talked about, after Houston, you talked about creative depth, but just looking at midfield, I mean, you knocked off the top team in the East and were able to bring Sean Davis and Animal Doy off the bench. How important are those four midfielders that you saw today going to be over the next couple of weeks with this stretch?
Yeah, and any of those guys that are missing, Ben, you know, Teal and Annabelle, Randall are the easy ones to talk about because they've been under the spotlight in the first team, and certainly the Annabelle and Randall, we haven't seen too much of Teal for obvious reasons in being out, but they are a loss. I mean, there's no doubt about it, especially when you're on a difficult run, lots of games, lots of minutes being turned out. To be able to bring those two guys on into the most competitive area of the field is not just immensely uplifting for me and the coaches on the line. It's inspirational for the players out there as well. And there are times in a game where you're looking for the guys off the bench or individuals coming into the game to somehow, some way, give you that lift, give you that shot in the arm, add a bit of energy, bring a bit of experience to the final moments. Lovely to see those two guys come into the game for us. And I don't think it'll be very long before we see Teal and again Randall, which will be great for us. But yeah, delighted to see Annabelle for sure get back out on the field.
Oh, Alex, tell us about the goal tonight and the win.
Yeah, like really good ball from Joe, and I just knew driving at the back line, CJ made a run, so it was going to open me up to come inside on my left foot, and luckily I was able to put a good shot and score a goal and get us on the right start. I think when we score first, we're a team that's really hard to play against, so that's a big key for us. I think we've created a lot of pressure early in games this year and haven't always scored early, so it was good to get an early goal.
I asked Gary a similar question just about how the goal happened. It seemed like both of them were obviously first with Joe kind of making the long pass and then Dan making a long pass for Ani's goal. For you, when you get that chance in that space, I told him it was almost like you were working with Guppy on the training ground about that. What were you thinking in that moment? Was it like what you just said, or was it just basically obviously sizing up Kamal and seeing what happens?
Yeah, I mean, it is something that me and Guppy have worked on a lot, and he's been great for that. He is tireless, and he always wants to, if you want to do work, he's there with you, and he's willing to put in the effort. So it's great to reward myself with it, and also to share that with him, because he's out there with me, and there's plenty of those that I've hit over, and he always keeps me going. So I'm very grateful to him for that, and I know he's happy for me, and hopefully we can keep doing stuff like that. But it's a moment where I get to reward myself in the career. That's what he says all the time: reward yourself, get these special moments. And often sometimes you come inside and you're looking for the pass, you're looking for this, and I think that was kind of what rang in my head, which was, you're here, just take a chance and see what happens.
You've been pretty open in the past that you feel like people doubt your technical ability a little bit more than they probably should. How vindicating is it to dribble a guy and hit a left foot?
Yeah, I mean, I've done it plenty of times. It's not really something that I worry about. It's a good feeling. It's one of the better goals I've scored in my career, but most importantly, it's a goal that gets us momentum and gets us get started on the right foot and continues a really prolific. I heard we haven't lost at home for 560 days, so that's an unbelievable stat, and that's one that we want to keep building on. And it's going to come from many different people. I think that the entire team is so deep, and everybody is so committed and on the same page, and it's a beautiful thing to see when you make subs and guys they know exactly what's needed of them, and they know exactly how to basically give everything for the team to try and get the result.
Yeah, Alex, obviously Houston was disappointing. How important was it to put that in the rear view quickly, start really well, and get a win against a really good Montreal side? Yeah, no, I mean, obviously I think the players will be the first to tell you that Houston wasn't something that we really saw ourselves. We don't see us doing that. There was really barely. It didn't feel like the Nashville DNA, and that was, I think, a little bit striking and kind of was a punch in the mouth for us. I think it's a good sign that happens so often. So not often, because that's why it hurt so much. I think we're not used to things like that. So this game was obviously about feeling like ourselves again, regardless of the result. As long as we came out and felt like Nashville and did what we do, day in and day out, we were going to feel good about it. And now we look forward to Atlanta. They don't have a midweek game, so again, the odds are kind of stacked against us, and it's going to take the entire squad, and it's going to take the reserves of just belief and energy and commitment that we have and that we've shown, and we need to keep going with that. Luckily, we're at home, so hopefully we can continue on this run.
Alex, we don't use the word golazo very easily in Spanish. It has to be a golazo. So that's what we hear upstairs after you scored that goal, which is nice. And I decided to make a comment before my question. But my question goes like this: in yourself, the way there was never a doubt about your effort in every single game when you're on the pitch. But how do you feel now? Because it looks like your game is gotten to another level lately, especially this year. Is that how you feel yourself?
I just feel I feel good. I think that I haven't always been the player who gets all these stats and gets goals and assists, but I think that I impact games a lot, and that's what it's always going to be about. It's going to be about giving everything for the team, whether I'm scoring, not scoring. all I care is that we win and it being a part of that. And yeah, it's nice to score goals and help the team, because ultimately that's what helps you win games, is scoring goals. But in general, I just want to continue to improve as a player and continue to just taking steps in the right direction. But yeah.
Tim.
You mentioned that Atlanta doesn't have a midweek game, and I guess your packed schedule over the past week and then the next week and a half here is very formidable. How do you guys manage, I guess, physical restoration, but also the mental side of kind of the grind of 6 games in 3 weeks?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, we've had like a Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, or something like that, or we're going to have that. It's not easy. I think that it can really become, it can really just basically drain your batteries, and it's about finding ways to each challenge, feeling fresh and feeling up for that individual challenge. So, we're all professionals here, and hopefully we can use Houston as a springboard to remind us of what we don't want to see and what we don't want to feel like. And Atlanta's going to be a big challenge, and ultimately there's no excuses. At the end of the day, there's going to be 11 guys on the field, there's going to be 5 subs, and everyone has to do what they can. No one cares if you're tired, no one cares if you're hurt or sick. You have to put in a performance, and that's what that's what's going to separate us if we can take the next step as a club and as a team, and if not, then that's going to suck.
One final question by Ben.
Yeah, you've come close to scoring here a couple times at Geodis, especially against Philadelphia. How good did it feel not just to score, but to get it in front of the supporter section?
Yeah, no, it was great. It was, obviously Philly, I hit the crossbar. Blake made an unbelievable save on me, although I think I was offsides, so that's fine. Yeah, it's good. It's great, when you got wingbacks like Dan Levitz and me and Taylor, Eric Miller, we all can offer something, and we have a different kind of recipe. And for me, I think trying to add offensive firepower and getting in good spots and just trying to take the load off of some of the other attacking guys is going to be important. But as you see tonight, we have so many guys in this spot who can offer something different and who can really be really effective. Like Eric came on, played unbelievable tonight. Dan obviously had a great performance. Taylor, he speaks for himself. He's played so well. So I think we have really a lot of competition in good areas, and that's what's going to, serve us down the road and in these kind of really tough stretches of plenty of games.
Thank you, Alex.